What on Earth is Going On? A Crash Course in Current Affairs. Written and read by Tom Baird and Arthur House.
Afghanistan. Some basics.
Afghanistan is one of the world's poorest countries, the result of decades of war and political instability which have hindered its development and crippled its economy. Its literacy rates are among the lowest in the world, 51% for men and 21% for women, and average life expectancy is only 43. Afghanistan's extensive natural resources, which include copper, gold, iron ore, gemstones, petroleum and natural gas, remain largely untapped. Instead, much of the country's revenue comes from cultivating poppies, which are used to produce 95% of the world's heroin. The population of around 32 million is almost entirely Muslim, roughly 80% Sunni, 20% Shia, but ethnically diverse and multilingual. The most common language is Persian, spoken by around 80% of the population, followed by Pashto, the language of the Pashtun people, who dominate the southern lowlands of the country and constitute its largest ethnic group, 42% of the population. Groups dominating the centre and northern regions include Tajiks, 27%, Hazaras, 9%, and Uzbeks, 9%. Afghans usually place their loyalties with their tribe or local clan leader. This, combined with the mountainous and rugged terrain of much of the country, limits the power of state government. The current president Hamid Karzai's nickname is the Mayor of Kabul.
Has it always been a war-torn country?
Afghanistan's importance as a focal point for trade and migration between East and West has seen it possessed and conquered by a host of peoples throughout history, including Arabs, Persians, Turks, Macedonians, Mongols, and Mughals. In the 19th century, the country was of key strategic importance in the Great Game between Russia and the British Empire. After several Anglo-Afghan wars, it fell into British hands before regaining independence in 1919. 60 years later, Afghanistan once again became the pawn in a struggle between two superpowers, this time the Cold War adversaries, the USSR and the USA.
What happened?
In 1979, the CIA began funding the Mujahideen, an Islamist group composed of diverse factions and local warlords who opposed the communist secular government. The Soviet Red Army intervened to support the government, and were dragged into a decade-long war against the US-sponsored Mujahideen that Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev referred to as a bleeding wound. Eventually, the dogged resistance and guerrilla tactics of the Mujahideen forced the Soviets to pull out in 1989. The US lost interest in Afghanistan after the collapse of the USSR, and the country entered a volatile period in which the Mujahideen ousted the communist government and took control of the capital, Kabul, in 1992. During the ensuing reign of chaos, a new Islamist group, the Taliban, arose in opposition.
Who are the Taliban?
The Taliban, literally students, are a strictly religious Sunni movement drawn mainly from the Pashtun ethnic group. They originated in the madrasas, Islamic schools, of the southern city of Kandahar under the leadership of Mullah Omar, a one-eyed veteran of the Soviet war. The Taliban started making war on the Mujahideen with the intention of restoring stability to Afghanistan and implementing Sharia law. When they stormed Kabul in late 1996, they were greeted as heroes and bringers of peace. But they soon imposed an austere religious regime which required that all modern distractions from the teachings of Islam were banned. These included music, TV, card playing, dancing, high heels, kite flying, football, and even paper bags. Women were forced to go completely covered in the street and were not allowed jobs, being expected to stay at home instead. In 1996, the Taliban provided a safe haven in Afghanistan for Osama bin Laden and his fellow al-Qaeda members. Several of these, including bin Laden, already had contacts in the Taliban, having fought with them in Afghanistan against the Soviets, and shared their fundamentalist beliefs.
What happened after 9/11?
A month after the attacks, on the 7th of October 2001, George W. Bush launched Operation Enduring Freedom in response to the Taliban's refusal to surrender bin Laden. This was an offensive launched with the UK, which aimed to capture bin Laden, destroy al-Qaeda, and remove the Taliban regime. With the help of the Northern Alliance, former Mujahideen militias also known as the United Islamic Front, the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?